Oasis have played their fair share of iconic, legendary performances in their career. From legendary festival appearances to iconic shows played in front of hundreds of thousands of people, they've entertained and rocked crowds the world over. But which Oasis shows were the most iconic? Let's find out. Coming in at number 10, we have Glastonbury 2004. This was the band's triumphant return to Worthy Farm a decade after they first debuted at the Glastonbury Festival, and they did this one in between albums, Heat and Chemistry and Don't Believe the Truth. It showed how far the band had come in just 10 years from playing the side stage in 94 to the Pyramid stage in 2004. It was also one of the few times that Oasis debuted new songs live before they were released on an album. They played The Meaning of Soul and A Bell Will Ring, which came out on Don't Believe the Truth a year later, and this is actually only the second time they've done that. They played 2 new songs from Be Here Now at Nebworth 96 a year before those songs came out as well. And at number 9, we have Wembley 2000. The 2 Wembley shows that Oasis performed in the summer of 2000 on the Standing on the Shoulder of Giants tour are known for being 2 widely different Oasis experiences. The first night was a banger from front to back and became the live album Familiar to Millions. The second night, iconic for entirely different reasons, notably for Liam being completely wasted during the entire show, mumbling and shouting obscenities at the audience and slurring the words as he sang. This show was also broadcast on television, even here in Canada, so it's known for being iconic, but maybe not in a good way. In at number 8, we have the Whiskey Agogo in 1994. This show is iconic not so much because of the performance by Oasis, but because of the massive disaster the show ended up being. Oasis was hoping to make a good impression on their first US tour, especially at their tour stop at the legendary LA nightclub, the Whiskey Agogo. But the band let their partying ways get the best of them when they did a bump of what they thought was cocaine, but in actuality was crystal meth. It ended up wreaking havoc on the show as the band got confused as to what songs they were playing and basically blew the whole gig. They still ended up being huge in North America though, so I guess it all worked out. Before we continue, guys, if you like this video, I'd really appreciate a thumbs up. That really helps the channel. And if you like what I'm doing here on the channel, we want to chat more about Oasis and our favorite bands, make sure to smash the subscribe button so you don't miss out on future videos. Let's get back to it. And at number 7, we have the Manchester GMX in 1997. This show in Manchester may not be as iconic as Maine Road from the year before, but it's still an epic and all-timer Oasis show. I actually saw this show when it aired on Much Music here in Canada back in 1997. I recorded it onto a VHS tape with my VCR. That shows how old I am. The Be Here Now era is still one of my favorite eras of the band. It was awesome to hear live versions of songs like Do You Know What I Mean and All Around the World, which didn't get much play after this tour. And at number 6, we have Glastonbury 1994. 1994 was the year that Oasis introduced themselves and they hit the scene with a bang with their first single, Supersonic, which was released in April of 94. The momentum continued to build throughout 1994 with the band's June 1994 gig at the legendary Glastonbury Festival, which was the band's introduction to the UK at large. The show was also broadcast on British television, cementing the band as one to watch as they continued their rise to superstardom. And at number 5 on my most iconic Oasis performances, we have Earls Court in 95. Oasis had a legendary run of iconic shows during the Morning Glory era. We got Knebworth, Maine Road, and the other iconic show included on the There and Then live DVD, Earls Court. The fact that the band went from playing clubs and arenas in 94 to some of the biggest venues in the UK in 95 and 96 is pretty crazy. It's awesome that they got so big so quickly, and every moment was documented back then, which I'm really thankful for, and it's always a lot of fun going back and watching those epic shows from the mid-90s. In at number 4, we have Wembley 2025. I was torn between including this run of shows from the Oasis Live 25 reunion tour or the Manchester shows at Heaton Park. I was not at either run of shows, but for all intents and purposes, the Wembley shows were no less than life-altering experiences and among the most epic and meaningful Oasis shows of their entire career. And rightfully so. We waited 15 years for Oasis to reunite. I was at the first of their reunion shows in Toronto, and although I know they probably weren't as crazy as the Wembley shows or any of the reunion shows in the UK, it was still an incredibly emotional experience and one I'll never forget. And at number 3, we have Maine Road 96. After the band had conquered the world with What's the Story, Morning Glory, Oasis returned home to Manchester for 2 back-to-back shows in April of 1996 at the famed Maine Road, which is where their favorite football team, Manchester City, played until 2003. Footage of the show was captured on night 2 of the concerts and was included on their There and Then live release. The opening footage of the band opening with the Swamp Song is still among one of my favorite live intros for the band ever. And then you got Liam walking on stage to thunderous applause and asking the crowd if they're mad for it is legendary, and there's nothing like an Oasis hometown show for fans to go wild. In at number 2, we have King Tut's Waw Wa Hut in 1993. Although Oasis weren't famous yet in 1993, this show is iconic because we all know the story. This is the show where after they performed, Alan McGee went backstage and offered the band a record deal, and of course, the rest is history. The funny thing is that Oasis wasn't even supposed to be on the bill that night. They had traveled to the Scottish venue in Glasgow with their fellow band Sister Lovers. When they arrived at the show, they were denied their opening slot by the venue staff, but after some consideration, they ended up playing a short set anyway and blew Alan McGee's mind. It's actually a perfect story that every band wishes happened to them. You know, you go on stage, you play your set, you blow away the record executive who just happens to be sitting in the audience that night, and then you're offered a record deal on the spot. If only that happened to every band. And in at number 1 on the most iconic Oasis performances, we have Nebworth 96. When it comes to iconic, legendary Oasis performances, it doesn't get any more iconic or any more legendary than Nebworth 96. This was Oasis at their peak. Morning Glory had cemented them as the biggest band in the UK and potentially in the world at the time, and they proved it by playing to 250,000 people over 2 nights, gigs that would go down in history as being some of the best of all time. And the band celebrated the Nebworth performances with anniversary releases of the documentary back in 2021, as well as full recordings of the shows on vinyl and CD. Even though I wasn't at the original gigs, I went to go see the documentary in the theater featuring some of the live performances, and it was awesome watching that footage on the big screen. But now I'm going to turn it over to you. What do you think are the most iconic Oasis performances of all time? Let me know in the comments below. If you like this video, make sure to like the video, toss me a thumbs up. I'd very much appreciate that. And make sure to smash the subscribe button so you don't miss out on future videos. But I'll see you guys again for another video here on the channel. Until then, rock on, everybody.